Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. I'm John DeWanzik, and this is the regular meeting of the Avon Lake Board of Municipal Utilities. With me from the board tonight are, to my left, Mr. Mondello and Mr. Rush, and to my right, Mr. Ricky and Mrs. Schnabel. Also with us tonight are members of staff, Chief Utilities Executive Robert Monroe to my right. At the table, we have Chief of Utility Operations, Mr. Urinich, and Chief, what is he called, Business and Financial Coordinator, Mr. Logan. I don't introduce you that often, so I got a cheat sheet up here. Also in the audience, also at the table is outside counsel Tyler Berry, from Mansard Avon. And in the audience tonight, we are welcoming Mr. Gerald Phillips and Mr. William Zimmerman, who are Avon Lake residents, all present and accounted for. Tonight's meeting will be live streamed on Facebook and YouTube. And if you are on those venues, you have an opportunity for public input by commenting in the comment lines. Mr. Urinich keeps an eye on those. And if you're in the audience, of course, you have an opportunity to come to the podium at the appropriate time. With all board members here present, a minimum of 3 affirmatives are required to pass any motion that's made. Those votes are taken by voice votes, with the exception of a motion to go into executive session, of which one is expected tonight, and that will be done by roll call vote. Did I miss anything, Mr. Rush?
I do not believe so.
Okay, thank you. I think I seemed clear to me tonight. All right. So having said that, our first order of business is the approval of minutes from the October 7th meeting. Are there any comments on those, Mr. Rush?
Yes, thank you. I just found one item during the, under the section approval of minutes. Additions correction noted, it was Mr. Dwanzik who ordered the minutes stand and be distributed as president, not Mr. Rush.
Thank you, Mr. Rush. I didn't catch that myself, but we will correct them as noted. Are there any other comments from the board on the minutes? Okay, hearing none, then we will call them approved as corrected. And Mr. Monroe, you'll see to their correction. Thank you. Next item is the public speakers. First of all, Mr. Urinich, any comments from the world out there? Okay, next is our guests who are here and present. Anyone wish to address the board?
I'll go second. Okay. Let the Z's go first.
Mr. Zimmerman. You may dispense with your address and all.
Thank you, I appreciate that. You never know what can happen to your home when you're not there.
Well, when you change your address, let us know.
Okay. William Zimmerman. So, two things. Went to the Lorco meeting. Mr. Ricky was there. And we spoke with several of the people who were on their board, I guess. The people who were in attendance and so on. And many of them were not in favor of joining the 6119. They like being farmers. They like doing what they do. They don't want this involvement with this. It's what they told me, at least. I hope that we've beaten this thing to death from a standpoint that the commissioners aren't moving forward. The city's not moving forward. And at this point, I don't know if legals are still communicating and talking about the subject. One of my concerns, though, still is that there was a 5-0 vote to approve it. And from my standpoint, that was not in the best interest of the citizens of Avon Lake. The health, safety, and welfare of the citizens was not taken into account. This was more of a business move that county commissioners were trying to move because of the $67 million grant that they've received. They're trying to find ways to figure out how to incorporate different items. Although I've uncovered an issue with the 10 miles of sewage line that they want to put in with some of the money from Vermillion southward. So I think it's almost irreprehensible that it was a 5-0 vote. Because I don't believe you had the best interests of the city at heart. This was pushed because of the commissioners who had filed something in 23, stuff that was then pushed on to here. And then you came to Avon Lake and did the presentation in front of the council, and Shamir stood up and said, no, this isn't right. And we've been doing the same ever since as well. So enough about that. The other problem I still have is, and on the budget report that I just read for this year, where's the $14 million that Lorco owes us on that report? Plain and simple. Mr. Logan has been very kind to me. He gave me some other information in regards to a public records request I made, and I still don't understand where that money is. Are we not collecting the money? Are we giving them a break? Because that's the whole 6119 to me, is that it's a way to bail out Lorco. And I don't understand why we would be willing to give away $14 million. You're a businessman. Would you give it away to one of your customers? I don't think so.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. Mr. Phillips?
Gerald Phillips, 20-year resident of Avon Lake, certified public accountant and a concerned citizen. I too would like to know the rationale of each board member, why you voted in favor of the regionalization. I like to hear the reason why, so I can determine whether or not I think it's logical. Am I going to get an answer, or are you just going to be silent? Really? Unfortunately, two people are up for election and nobody's running against them. Maybe I should have ran against them. Okay, but I guess we could always recall people. On the budget, I don't know if Mr. Monroe can answer these questions. What's account 721? Is that for the water? Oh, you're gonna be dumb and not answer any questions? Okay, that's fine. We are proposing a 2 to 3% increase in our rates. I don't think we need a 2 or 3% increase if we collected our money from Lorco. $14 million of a receivable. I looked at their financials when I went there. They bill their customers $125, $130 a month. They collect the money and we get zero. We get zero on our accounts receivable. I'm paying for 1,603 people through Lorco who are getting their sewer water treated free. I pay my sewer water every quarter. Now, if I'm late, I get charged 10% penalty. We're not charging them 10% penalty. We're not. We're not charging. We're treating Lorco very different. And as a resident, I find that discrimination. We should be billing them just like me if I don't pay my bill. And we're not. Are we ever going to collect it? We have no collateral for it. No reasonable business person would ever let $14 million in receivable go that long without collateral, without something. Okay? Nobody. Now I want to know the capacity of that line going from the plant out to Eaton Township. If all 1,603 people during the Super Bowl flushed their toilet, is that the capacity? Because if that's the capacity of the land, we're gonna have to build a new line to go out there if it's gonna expand. That's not considered in the financials for this Clearwater? It isn't. It's a bad deal.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Mr. Urinich, anything else?
No, there is not, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, let's move on to correspondence, Mr. Monroe.
I do have one piece of correspondence to pass along this evening. If you recall, about last month, we were given the award from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for our wash water system at the water filtration plant. And we received a proclamation from Senator Manning. And that proclamation is recognizing Avon Lake Regional Water on receiving the Ohio Water Conservation Excellence Award from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and recognizing our organization and what we do on a continual basis. But we have developed and implemented a variety of programs aimed at responsible water usage and the safeguarding of our most precious resources as reflected in its large-scale wash water recycling system. So with genuine satisfaction, the Ohio Senate salutes Avon Lake Regional Water on its recent accolade and offers us continued success in the future. So we want to thank Senator Manning for his continued support with the projects that we do.
And Senator McCauley, is it McCauley?
Yes, Senator Robert McCauley, who's the president of the Ohio Senate.
Okay.
And that is all I have for
All
correspondence.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Monroe. Any remarks from the board? Okay, let's move on to expenditures on your goldenrod sheets. Would someone like to make the motion?
Well, excuse me, I will.
Mr. Ricky,
I move to accept the expenses for Avon Lake Regional Water dated October 3rd through October 16th, 2025.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Schnabel. Discussion. Anyone? Going once, going twice? Close discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. All right, next item, project updates. Mr. Urinich with many words and many more pictures.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was not able to get any updated pictures of the power plant.
Save those many words.
I mean, I can list off 1,000 words in my speech, but talk with Wayne Woodruff, project coordinator there. They're still looking like trifecta will be finished by the end of the month. That was their subcontractor that handled the demolition portion. Chara, a subsidiary of ALERG, they're looking to be done and completely demobilized by Thanksgiving of this year. If anything changes as far as additional work they're contracted with, I will obviously inform the board of that.
Mr. Urinich, since you brought that matter up, when you say everything will be down, do you mean everything scheduled to be down? But
Correct.
I believe the singular smokestack is not going to be taken down.
That is
At
going to
least at
remain
this
in
time.
place.
But the wall, I presume, along Lake Road is going to be taken down.
It's gone.
It is down.
It is, I haven't been by there. Okay, and because I enjoy riding on Walker Road so much, going that way. And I have a serious question though, since this site now is gonna be unoccupied completely, not even with construction crews and so on, will it be fenced? Will there be security? Will there be occasional visual inspections to make sure that like nobody's dumping anything or nothing's leaking, et cetera, et cetera? What's the plan for that? Not that it's Avon Lake Regional Water's responsibility, but since we're a near neighbor, we do have an interest in what is going on there. So what can you tell me about that, you or Mr. Monroe?
The fencing will remain. I haven't had any discussions with him as far as a detailed plan of how or who is going to handle security and all of that. But in my upcoming meeting with him, I'll make sure to address that.
Do they have like Blue Ox or some video surveillance system there for their construction, or don't you know?
That I don't know. I know they have some cameras set up on various portions of the site now. I don't know what remains. That would be part of their contract, and I'll have to inquire about that.
Mr. Monroe, would you agree with me that it's in our interest to have some constant monitoring of the site due to our proximity?
Yes, I would agree.
Okay, will you see to that then?
Yes.
Any comments on that from the board members? Okay, water filtration plant improvements, Mr. Urinich.
Yes.
Here's some pictures.
So this is an old picture showing the start of it. The coating on the clear wells and on top of the sedimentation and flocculation basins before this project, that was from 1980, the original coating. We had noted how that coating had deteriorated and was peeling off in places. They have completed all of the work on the clear well, which in the next slide you can see it's at the top on this one, but the gray areas, they have applied the coatings. All of the concrete has been repaired in those areas. There will be no more travel or storage of any materials by Great Lakes. Those areas are now completely off limits, but those have been recoated. They have a small area to repair the concrete on top of the sedimentation basin, and then they will be getting the coatings down for that. So that part of the project will be complete before the winter weather hits. Here is next to the new chemical feed building. This is taken from the south looking north. That is where they are forming the foundation, the pad for the carbon silos. Those giant white cylinders that I had showed at previous meetings. They're installing the conduits and the piping in preparation of being able to form that pad. That will allow the installation of those two silos. This is the new filter addition. They're currently doing the
That's a
forming
street.
for the upper levels. They have completed the walkway around the filters, and now they're going to be moving upwards to start to get that area where it can be enclosed, and that will, help the work throughout the winter once that's completed. Any questions on the water plant project?
Just a quick one. Where are we on the schedule? I mean, are we on schedule right now, or are you pleased with where we're at?
We're still looking like substantial completion by midsummer. Obviously, there would be some restoration that would carry on a little past that. Initially, the project, when they were still doing the underground work, there were some things that had come up slightly different
Right.
from historical drawings. So there were some delays there, but now that they've been above ground, they're making very good progress.
So sometime summer, fall, we should be wrapping this up.
Yeah, I would think.
Barring any unforeseen.
As far as the work themselves, except for the restoration, everything, we're looking at midsummer.
Okay.
On that schedule, how many weather days did they have in there, and how many have we consumed?
That'll have to, I don't know
Right.
exactly how many they had versus how many they're claiming. There's still discussion trying to finalize that.
I think that the main adjustment to schedule had to do with conflicts, underground conflicts that maybe they were shown inaccurately on a record drawing.
Sure.
Or it wasn't shown at all. So that's really, we've asked them for an updated schedule. So, because if there needs to be an adjustment, we need to authorize it formally.
Is there any bonus or penalty in this contract, or was that just for information's sake?
Yeah, it would be just for information's sake, because change orders that we've had, for the most part, a lot of our change orders are credits that have come back to us. But in this instance of a conflict of underground, an underground utility or something of that nature, there may be an additional expense because it wasn't accounted for in the original bid specs. But overall, I think that we're doing really well as far as managing that.
Anything else? All right, Mr. Urinich, would you continue with the TechWin project,
So the,
AKA the sodium hypochlorite?
yes, the equipment is still operating, I guess, as expected. We had a couple of issues with, one was the, one of the probes that monitors the process. We ended up just having to replace that. The thinking was that because it was initially set up on the other side of the world, that probe sitting dry may not have been stored properly. There were some issues with that. So we had to order, have them ship us another probe. Obviously, during this trial period, we want to make sure we're using the exact equipment that they specify, just in case there are any irregularities. They can't say, well, you're using a different probe, you're not using how it was spec'd. So we are in the process of testing by a third-party laboratory. We have yet to submit to NSF, the National Sanitation Foundation, for that certification. It's one of those things we could test as many times as we would like in order to meet that initial approval, but there's also a cost associated with that. So we want to make sure we go into this process knowing exactly what we're going to see as far as the test results. So the system is currently operating. Water filtration plant manager Gibney and his staff are doing a very good job of documenting daily electrical usage, salt consumption, electrical consumption, so that as we progress through this process, we can come up with very good numbers as far as what the cost per gallon, cost per pound is.
How much have we produced? Where are we storing it?
We're not storing it.
What are we doing with it?
It
Waste
gets,
plant?
it gets dosed in at a slow dose at the water reclamation facility.
Okay, so that's what we're doing with it.
Mhm.
I guess the only other question I have is where on here do we keep track of costs for this trial and project? Is that on these sheets?
It's in Fund 704. All of these, which is the Water Construction Fund, all of these
Okay.
initial costs, getting everything set up,
Because there was,
are there. Now, when it's in operation and we budgeted this way for next year, it'll be in that 701.
that was my next question. Was this in the budget for next year?
Yes.
I mean, are we thinking this will be approved and be put online, or will we be starting with purchasing bulk bleach?
We're going to be purchasing bulk bleach because
That's our system now.
correct.
Okay.
Well,
The-
not yet, but
The TechWin system will not meet 100% of our demand
Gotcha.
because it's a pilot system.
Mhm.
once approved, this will just supplement our supply.
And how many other places do we feed? Do we secondary feed sodium hypochlorite? Between our customers, do any of our customers, bulk customers, have to feed?
They do. I mean, we have the capability at the ETL pumping station that we can dose chlorine there, and also at Island Road. Our customers, our bulk customers, there may be spots in their system that they may touch it up to boost it, but
What
I
is
don't
right
know
by the water
specifically.
plant, not water plant, water tower driveway? What is that tank?
That was,
That's a system that was installed with the Lorco force main for odor control. It was meant to be peroxide.
We've never really had a problem.
It was
with
never
control.
used.
Never used. I was gonna say, that's never been an issue. Okay, I never, for some reason, I thought that was sodium hypochlorite there, just for touch-up or something, okay. But 704 is where the expenses are accumulating for this project.
Well, it's still being finalized. yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Rush? Mr. Mondello?
Are all the samplings you're taking out of this now, are they falling within spec and your assumptions?
most of them.
Okay.
We have one, so the lab we were using has never dealt specifically with bleach before. What we're kind of finding out is that a lot of the tests are very specific to the sample matrix, the type of sample it is. So we've got a second lab running the same test, just to either confirm that those numbers are correct, or that if they get something different that's more in line with what we're expecting.
They're running it on the same, you're running 2 tests on the same sample.
Well, I mean, we're continually producing, so it's,
Okay.
but yes, we're testing the bleach through 2 different third-party laboratories.
Mr. Yurnich, as a practical matter, how has TechWin been to deal with? Because unless I'm mistaken, the premise of this was that this system is free for our evaluation purposes, but eventually you have to get 2 or 3 more similar systems at some large number, and of course we wouldn't want to deal with a poor customer service outfit that's half a world away.
They've been pretty responsive. Obviously, there's some hurdles when the time zone difference and different holidays, I guess. But no, they've been responsive to our questions and concerns.
What are you hearing from TechWin as far as their plans for bringing their show on the road and setting up operations in the U.S.?
Well, there's obviously we're in the proving period, collecting the data. Having the NSF certification is a big hurdle. So that's one point of it. They are working on their plans as far as once we have the NSF certification and we're collecting a good amount of data. We figure it's going to be at least a few months of that in that period, and then they would submit to us what their plans are.
Okay, well, you'll keep us tuned into that.
Yes.
So before we make the investment.
Certainly.
Mr. Rush.
It sounds like this process is dependent on existing equipment. Do we have a series, or will we be having a series of spare parts that we may need in the future, specifically from TechWin, or are we eventually going to local source some of this?
So there, as part of our cooperative agreement with TechWin for this project, they were supplying us with a certain amount of wear items, items that would need routine maintenance. So they have provided those. We would, in the interim, we would prefer to, we don't want to make any changes in suppliers because we don't want to, as we work through to make sure operationally it's meeting our standards. So I think though that those are some of the things that, the differences between, South Korea and the United States, for instance, electrically, there's the differences. We work in 60 hertz.
I knew it would be
Theirs was 50,
380 volt,
380
480
volt instead of 480.
phase.
So those are just some of the nuances. So again, right now we are following theirs and as far as any parts. But I think that there was a couple of probes, I think that we can source domestically here. So
We would, because we have several of those types of probes from a different brand, but during this trial period, we didn't want to introduce a variable that could cloud the troubleshooting.
That makes sense. In other words, to follow up on Mr. Monroe's remarks, at which time we might invest in this, we might specify that we'll provide the following things: motors, and things that are compatible with U.S. standards, and that will hopefully save the confusion.
If they were going to enter the U.S. market, I think there's quite a few things that they would want to standardize for what is kind of, I guess, industry standard in this region.
Right, because later on, even if everything worked fine, but like something breaks down and then you can't get the replacement part except from, many weeks of shipping, we would only be able to get something domestically.
A quick question. Is 12% what we buy on the market? If we're buying, it'll be 12%?
Yes.
And that's what this is putting out, is 12%?
Correct.
Okay. I didn't know what we bought.
And of course, that much, that's a fairly nominal approval from Ohio EPA to get the delivered sodium hypochlorite system approved. I'm sure it needs their approval.
Yes,
This is a more involved approval process because we have to be approved as a supplier as well as
that NSF certification, that's a requirement of any chemical that's used at a drinking water treatment plant. And so that's why we were pursuing that ourselves. Once that's approved, it would be suitable for use at our facility.
Okay. Anybody else? Let's see, we still have Mr. Urinich on the hook.
Yes.
Now there's the street,
There, one more.
2025 water bump.
So Underground Utilities, Inc., UUI, they've pretty much completed the restoration of Inwood. You can see that they've done the initial restoring of the tree lawn area, poured the driveways. They've begun switching over services on Delwood. That water main had been tested, passed all of its acceptance testing. They're switching over the services from the old line to the new line on Delwood. They've begun water main installation on Bel Air and North Point. They've also begun the work on Rosewood Drive, and their subcontractor CAMU is doing the meters, the inside meters that we were relocating to an outside location to be consistent with our current standards. They're working on the homes throughout the city, completing those.
Okay, questions for Mr. Urinich? UUI. Okay, let's then move on to CUE report, Mr. Monroe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do not have anything to report on this evening.
Excellent. Any members with reports? Mr. Ricky, I know you and Mr. Zimmerman were at the Lorco meeting. What do you have to tell us?
Yeah, things that I wasn't sure were going to happen at the meeting did not happen. There was no action taken by the Board of Trustees regarding Clearwater and the issues that are going on. I didn't find anybody against the project. They were more against losing representation on the board, the panel board that they're talking about, the controlling board of Clearwater. They feel they should have a seat at the table. That's kind of the gist of what I got talking to some of the trustees there. And I plan on attending their next month's meeting as well. And we'll go from there.
Okay,
Okay.
any questions for Mr. Ricky? Anyone else with member reports? Okay, let's close that item. Time for public speakers again. Mr. Urinich first.
No one online, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlemen in the audience.
Gerald Phillips, Avon Lake resident for 20 years, certified public accountant. I have the December 31st, 2023 business or enterprise funds. It's got both the water and the sewer. And the intergovernmental receivable for the sewer is $11,404,336. That's the Lorco. But there's also an intergovernmental receivable under the water fund of $3,590,970. I'm curious of what that is, what intergovernmental agency owes the water department $3.5 million. Mr. Logan? You know? I think it may be Lorco again. I'm not sure. It seems like it comes out to $15 million. You know, who are we subsidizing? $15 million. You don't have to go out and get, Ohio Department Water Authority bonds, if you had $15 million, you could finance some of the improvements. So, I don't know. I mean, why do we have $15 million in accounts receivable from agencies that don't pay their bills? I pay my bills, otherwise I get a 10% penalty. Now, on this financial statement for 23, it shows revenues of $11 million for the sewer fund, but yet in this budget, it's only showing 9 million, okay? For both the distribution and collection funds. So are we losing money in the sewer fund and we're not collecting as much as we did in 2023? Or is that budget amount, we just exclude Lorco because we never get paid? I mean, I'd like an answer to that, you know? And do I have to put my questions in writing to get a response, or are you just gonna sit there with smiles on your face and not give a citizen an answer? I'm a taxpayer. I vote you guys in or out. Am I gonna get answers from the meeting or not? Yes or no? Gee, I'll remember that when I vote next time. John, you're my neighbor. I'm just shocked that you treat citizens this way, John, really. This is appalling. This is shocking. Let's go to the meeting minutes, okay? Meeting minutes are supposed to be detailed enough so that if I wasn't at the meeting, I can find out what transpired. Your meeting minutes don't qualify. You know, you get one sentence of what I say, not the content of it. So I suggest you contact legal counsel because they don't comply with the sunshine law.
William Zimmerman. So Jennifer makes several statements about stormwater managers and 1060.02 in our code. And that this is, stormwater manager is supposed to be designated potentially by the Public Works Director. Well, it's my understanding that the illegal connection that was done out over here a year or two ago, I can't figure out who is the stormwater manager, because that would have made them responsible for it. And without NPDES permits, can't do the work. Yet it's been done. No permits were ever granted. So this is illegal. That's why we phrase it as an illegal connection. So the only people who were in charge at that time was Mr. Monroe and Mayor Zilka in regards to those matters, is what I've come to find. These are illegal connections, therefore it's an illegal act. So whoever approved it is on the hook. I have meetings coming up with commissioners and all kinds of people in the next few days. I hope to have a really solid answer as to who's on the hook. Unfortunately, your next meeting isn't for a couple of weeks. But at this point, it really doesn't matter because we keep coming, asking questions. You tell us to call Mr. Monroe. I do that. He doesn't call me back. He doesn't respond. What's the point of doing it then? Who am I supposed to contact? Nobody wants to be communicating to the public. Sounds like corruption to me. I don't think you want that label. All you got to do is communicate with the public, like Mr. Phillips asks. All we want are answers, because otherwise it's corruption. You're working together for the same reasons, the same goals, and not being transparent. To me, that's corruption. It's a sad city we live in now.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. We have a call for, well, first of all, Mr. Urinich. Is there anything up there? Okay. So we have a call for an executive session for the purpose of purchase of property and to review negotiations with bargaining unit employees. No formal action is anticipated following the reconvening of the public meeting. So may you make the motion, Mr. Rush?
Yes, prior to making that motion, we did add another item to that agenda. It's the discussion of cybersecurity protocols. Again, we don't anticipate any formal action upon reconvening the public meeting. I move to meet in executive session as allowed by Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22 G2 and G4 and G6 to discuss the purchase of property for public purposes and to review negotiations with bargaining unit employees concerning their compensation and to discuss the cybersecurity protocols and policies and to include the CUE, the CUO, Business and Financial Coordinator, and a representative from Manzer Gavin.
Thank you, Mr. Rush. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Schnabel. Roll call vote. Mr. Mondello?
Aye.
Mr. Ricky?
Yes.
Mrs. Schnabel?
Yes.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Chairman votes yes. We will go into executive session when the room is cleared. Thank you all for attending, and we will be back in 2 weeks.
That's my understanding.